Hi, my name is Mia and this is my virtual vanity, a place where we both love makeup and we're quite critical of it. And I'm really excited about today's topic. We are doing a Makeup Mythology Mondays, which I've not done in quite a while, and to be frank, I'm just using the theme to talk about folklore, not necessarily mythology as in dyed myth, but rather things that Romanians do during Christmas and New Year's Eve that seems to be rooted more in folklore and what we used to be before Christianity than regular Christian celebrations. At the same time, we are also going to do a look with the colors of the Romanian flag, which is yellow, blue, and red. And here is the flag over there. You may notice that we have the same flag as Chad. We know, it's a meme at this point. Let's talk a bit about Romania because most of you seem to be interested in where I live. So Romania, we all as Romanians have a complicated relationship where we both love and hate our country entirely, including the people in it, where we see the potential but hate where it's at, while simultaneously saying that we deserve it for being at this point. Regarding what and how we celebrate, most of Romania is Orthodox, like Bible thumping type of Orthodox that actually probably never read a Bible, but they just follow what their priest and local nana says. Most Romanians are die-hard Christians, not so much the younger generation, but the older generation is you thought the American Bible Belt is bad? Just come over here and take a look. I remember my grandmother crying if I would take a bath on Sunday because that was a sin. For such a Christian country, we honestly have some really interesting pagan-like habits during the holidays, and that's what I actually want to start talking about. I'm going to start priming with the Catrice Prime and Fine Hydrating Primer. This is really nice. It's my second or third repurchase of it, I believe. It's really hydrating for my dry skin and makes every foundation sit on it really nicely. For a bit of context, let's first talk about what was before Christianity. Before Christianity, Romanians or Thracians, Dacians as we were called, they had their own polytheistic religion spearheaded by the god Zamolxis. Not a lot is known about Zamolxis, and most accounts are scattered. There's not a lot of congruent information. We know bits and pieces, not much. I'm going to use the Clinique Even Better Glow Foundation, which I'm trying to use up. I used this in the summer. It has such a beautiful finish in the summer, but for my winter skin, which gets drier, it just doesn't look as nice. I think it needs a little bit of oil and a little bit of sweat to look nice. I really like this because it has a sheer, watery coverage. It looks like skin. It's got great staying power, but you know, as I said, I liked it better in the summer. Well, you know, with this primer, it really does look like it did in the summer, I think. I may have discovered a breakthrough. Eventually, the Roman Empire took over, then the Ottoman Empire, and Christianity came to be. Christianity is the main thing going on here. However, as I mentioned earlier, aside from the regular, you know, oh, let's put up a tree, let's celebrate baby Jesus, and several holidays that are related to saints and martyrs, the actual celebrations themselves have a very pagan feel to them. There is a great focus on animal sacrifice, on fasting to purify the body, on elements that bring good luck, ritualistic like songs and dance that have to be done at certain times to help with the renewal of the season and with the good passage of time to bring prosperity and good luck to the community, which honestly, come on guys, those are pagan agrarian rituals. And I'm going to apply concealer. This is the Revlon Candid concealer and I'm in Fair. I really like this, blends out really nicely, has a decent amount of coverage, and I'm going to apply it on the under eyes and on the few lots of spots that I have on my face. There's a quote by Mircea Eliade written in 1942 that perfectly exemplifies the Romanian religious experience. The tragedy of my life can be reduced to this formula. I am a pagan, a perfect classical pagan trying to be a Christian. What happens is that Romania is so greatly orthodox, so embroidered in all of this Christian imagery and rites and obsessive fervor of belief that we often forget how many of our traditions are pagan. We denounce these traditions so easily without taking a good look at our own, which are based in paganism, agrarian rituals, agrarian witchcraft, agrarian belief. And maybe I'm thinking this fractured national identity is also because we never had the time to settle into our own. We were always being invaded by this empire or the other. We always were fighting for keeping our territories. If there wasn't external strife, we had internal strife. Then after we were free from external empires trying to steal our women, kill our children, and take our territories, communism came. And with communism came starvation, oppression, lack of freedom of speech. They tried to take away the religion and to make the whole country secular, but that actually ended up with a huge backlash because, you know, when people can't have something, they desperately want it back. So after communism tried so hard to remove all of the religious elements in people's lives, now we are a country of Bible fucking thumpers in the worst sense of the word. Anyway, I keep teasing you guys and saying that, oh, we got these pagan sounding traditions, but I never got to saying what they are. I'm going to start powdering. This is the Essence powder in light beige. This is the compact mattifying powder, and it has seen better days. Of course, we have the regular Christmas celebrations. We bring a dead tree in the house and we decorate its corpse with colorful fancy bubbles and lights. We celebrate the birth of baby Jesus. We carol. We enjoy the capitalist feeling of the season and buy shit for each other. All of that good stuff. The more you go into the city, the more this is the only thing that's left. These standard non-traditional habits, the things that you would see in a movie and not bat an eye at. Nothing that screams, oh, this is particularly Romanian, or this is European, or this is Eastern European, or anything like that. Traditions in the city have been greatly diluted, mainly because 1, there's no space, 2, there's no sense of community, 3, there is a difference in lifestyle and in beliefs. I realized after filming that I forgot to mention the things that we traditionally eat for Christmas and New Year's. We have something called sarmale, which is basically minced meat mixed with rice and several spices, wrapped in vine leaves or in cabbage leaves. The cabbage leaf variant is the most common. We also have mulled wine with specific spices. If you don't want to drink something alcoholic, we have warmed up apple juice, but like traditional apple juice that also has certain spices that make it taste really, really good. That's personally my favorite. Never. Also have something called salata de boeuf, which sounds disgusting in theory, but is the most delicious fucking thing in practice. It's basically mayo, vegetables, and potatoes, carrots, that kind of stuff. So it's a really, really good mix. It's got like that crunchiness from the vegetables mixed with the fat from the mayo. It's just delicious. I like to spread it on bread. Of course, we drink, lots of people like to make tuica, palica, and other such in their backyards if they have homes in the village or in the province. Basically, it's vodka on steroids. It's
moonshine. There is also afinata and visinata, which are basically alcoholic drinks made from blueberries and sour cherries, and those can be made to be really strong and as sweet as sin. That's also polenta, which is made from mice mixed with water. You mix it until it gets to a thicker consistency, a very thick paste, like mashed potatoes but more consistent, and you can eat it warm. I love eating it warm, it's the best. And you can put in it cheese, yogurt. Some people put sausages and eggs in it, and that's called a bulz, where it's got cheese, sausages, and eggs, and it's just the most delicious thing. Otherwise, I think we mostly eat what everybody else eats. Some meat, some potatoes. And now that I've talked about the food, let's get back to actual traditions.
Start blushing while I tell you what happens before Christmas, and I want to do a blush draping look with a bit of a watercolor element to it, two colors bleeding into each other. I'm going to take the Wet n Wild Rosé Champagne blush as my main blush base because this reads a bit orangey yellow on my skin tone. I don't have any proper yellow, so this will do. I might use an eyeshadow later, I don't know. Also use these Sleek Rose Gold blush, which reads a bit redder on me. Taking a huge fluffy brush and starting to blend the Wet n Wild into my cheek, forehead, upper cheek, and into the eye socket as well. This helps link everything together so it doesn't just look like a C, it will end up connecting to the eye look. So the first celebration of the winter season is Saint Nicholas, and that is on the 6th. What happens is that on the 9th of the 5th going on the 6th, children leave their boots near whatever designated location in the house and are put into the boots. Usually what happens is that they get tiny trinkets, sweets. If the parents want to spoil the child, they'll get a toy, but the traditional one is food, sweets, bananas and oranges. And I feel that bananas and oranges was popularized during communism because bananas and oranges were very rare. The food in communist times was rationed, everything from bread, milk, eggs, meat, fruit, anything like that. Exotic fruits like bananas, oranges, things that you couldn't grow here were so scarce and so hard to get, and you would have to sit hours upon hours in line to get them. So of course they were just a beautiful, a prized gift. If the children were naughty, they would get a rod or coal. I am going to apply highlighter before I forget, and then I'm going to start working on the eyes. The highlighter that I want to use is the Becca Moonstone Mini Highlighter. The palette that I will be using is the Pat McGrath Eye Ecstasy in Subversive, which was a gift from my beautiful friend Mariam. You should really check out her channel. If you like Pat McGrath, she always has reviews of Pat McGrath. She does beautiful, colorful looks, so go check her out. And I chose this palette because it's got shimmers in the 3 colors of the Romanian flag. We've got blue, we've got gold, and we've got a red. Now, my opinion of this palette is that it is exquisite quality. These are crazy pigmented, crazy multi-dimensional, but if you can't afford Pat McGrath, I think something like Sydney Grace would do just as well. They all have the same level of pigmentation, but of course you do get the more luxe feeling and packaging with Mother Pat. So it depends on what you're looking for. I think I'll first lay out the groundwork for the eye look by taking some mattes from my BH Cosmetics Take Me Back to Brazil palette. What I'm going to do is, with a very fluffy brush which helps with blending, a very fluffy brush, I'm taking this yellow, putting it in the inner corner, followed by this red, and this I'm taking into the crease and outer V of the eye. As Christmas approaches, caroling starts, and it's usually traditional Romanian Christmas carols. They talk about the nativity scene, about making the Christmas tree, about wealth and fortune coming into the new year. And this is where it refers it being very ritualistic, because sometimes the carols, if they're not the very Christian variant but rather the traditional variants talking about wealth and goodwill coming into the next year, they sound like a spell, like may this and this and this and this and that happen to you. Carolers are rewarded with money, with food, bagels, nuts, walnuts specifically, sweets, a little bit of wine, a little bit of tuica, which if you are not sure what tuica is, or palica, which is similar, they are basically fire water. They're like vodka on steroids, basically. That's what they taste like. You take a sip and your whole esophagus and stomach and intestines just get cleaned out and disinfected. So before Christmas, before the Christmas period, the very Orthodox Christians fast for a week or two, and that means they abstain from sweets, from milk, from animal byproducts in general, meat, stuff like that, alcohol, of course. On the 20th of December, 22nd, 23rd, I think, on the day of Saint Ignatius, a pig is cut. Again, we come back to what I was saying about pagan rituals. This is a classical animal sacrifice. The pig has to be cut in a certain way. Moreover, when in some locations, when you're done cutting the pig, you take some of the pig's blood and swipe it across your forehead like it's the fucking Lion King, usually in the form of a cross. There also start to be street events, basically dances in costumes. They vary region by region. The most popular ones are the bear and the goat. These processions of tens of people are spearheaded by a person dressed in an animal type of suit. One that looks more real or another that looks more symbolic. They either represent a goat or a bear. Both very frequent animals in Romanian mythology and folklore. We have a large population of bears still, if the government doesn't endeavor themselves to endanger and kill them all soon. And well, goats are a prized possession in any household. What happens is that during the goat and the bear, a group of carolers parade and dance rhythmically. They sing, they shout, there's whistles, there's drums. It all feels very tribal, very pagan, very rhythmic and ritualistic. There are certain steps you have to do, certain things you have to say at certain times. Most of them represent the death and rebirth of the animal, and thus the death and rebirth of the new year. Get into doing lips and mascara. For mascara, I'm going to use the Maybelline Snap Mascara. I really like this because it lengthens my lashes like crazy, doesn't irritate my eyes, which is a problem for me with some drugstore mascaras. Makes my lashes really long, makes them really fluffy looking, doesn't really curb them. So if you're looking for high volume and high curvature, this is not it. For lips, I'm going to use two products. I'm going to use this Kiko Milano lip liner. This is in shade 307. And I'm also going to use this Pupa Milano lipstick. And this is in 400. And it's a velvet matte. For New Year's, we of course have the general New Year's tradition. Celebrate the passing of the new year. We've got fireworks. We've got, I don't know how they're called in English. Here they're called petarde. They're basically like these little things filled with gunpowder or God knows what else, used by children and adults alike to terrorize the city, because they just explode, like little tiny explosions, and they sound like gunshots, and they terrorize everything from war veterans to dogs. I think it's a shit practice. they serve no purpose. They're not flashy, they're not shiny, they're not sparkly, they just go boom. We of course drink and party the night away or whatever, but the interesting things are what happens before and after. As I said, rituals that are mostly in the agrarian communities and sometimes in the cities too. I also feel like I haven't gone crazy enough on the draped blush. So as I continue talking about what happens in New Year's Eve, I'm just going to take my red from the BH Cosmetics again and use it as a blush, and let's see how that goes for me. I'm going to use a stipple brush because I am afraid. So we've got two song and dances, procession, ritual type of things. They are called Plugusorul, which is literally the little plow, and Sorcova, which I honestly don't know how to translate that. Why I say it's got obvious pagan roots is because you take a twig, which honestly looks like a magic wand, and you've got this incantation, the text of the Sorcova, that basically goes like, may you live well, may you prosper, may you grow old and have a good year, may you have a peaceful time. This is basically an incantation for what the new year is supposed to come, and when someone does a Sorcova on you, you are supposed to grant them a little something something, treats, wine, sweets, bagels, nuts. After the New Year's, you get Plugusorul, the little plow, which, as the name suggests, is obviously of agricultural origin. You get a real physical plow or a miniature symbolic one, and a group of men. It possibly comes from a pagan fertility rite, if you ask me, because they go around the village with the plow and they enter people's homes and people's gardens and they throw seeds to make new seed grow in the new year and to make harvesting go well in the next year. So yes, these have been the tradition and rites that we have in this little old country over here. I may have missed out on some things, or I may have been incorrect in others, maybe in the finer details. Keep in mind that, as I said, I live in the big city. These aren't done as well anymore. It's no longer a community thing. You don't get to participate in them as much unless, you know, you are in such a family, and mine isn't particularly traditional. I've never really been to the countryside either, so I'm honestly speaking from someone looking from a looking glass to what other people are doing. This is the final look. I honestly feel a bit too much, a bit clownish, and I think it's because of the lips, because I usually, if I go very top heavy, I leave the lips with chapstick, but I thought the red would be a good idea. In any case, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, enjoyed hearing a bit more about Romania. I know you guys have asked for this video, so I am here to provide. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful New Year's Eve and a wonderful 2020. Bye!